Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary, and today we're going to be painting this love sign. Okay, now I will be putting another video up on YouTube of different love plaques, which I'll show you later. And the reason I'm doing this again, and it's pretty much the same technique, is these kits go out to different libraries, and this is another library, so they want the video only of the piece that I'm bringing to them in the kits. But it's pretty much the same technique as I did on the other two pieces. So for those of you who follow me on YouTube, if you watch the other video, you don't really have to watch this one, except it's a different piece. So it's a little different anyway. So all of the colors are pounced on, and the brushes that I gave you are just kind of small brushes, and what you should do in the future is get yourself better brushes and dry brushing brushes, with your ox hair brushes, and an assortment of brushes. Anytime you go into Michael's, if they have them on sale, it's a good idea to get nylons to do your base coating. I already went ahead and base coated this in the gray. I'm only doing the front because the back you can do in a color when you're finished. Okay, you could do one of the colors that I gave you in the kit. So I gave you the pink, the green, the lilac, and the blue, and some red. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start with the pink. I just need a little bit more pink. Now, we're going to be pouncing the colors on, so you don't want a lot of paint in your brush. Just want a little bit of paint in your brush, a little bit, and then I told you to have a paper towel. I kind of blend it into the hairs of the brush on the paper towel. And then I'm just going to go around. It might be a good idea to keep it down when you're working on it, because this way you can bounce the brush up and down on it without the piece falling out of your hand, falling on the floor and breaking. We don't want that to happen. And it's easy to keep just pouncing it like this. I'm going to hold it up so you can see what I'm doing. I just keep pouncing around. Now you can paint it if you want. And the advantage of having the gray underneath is that you don't have to butt your colors perfectly up against each other. Now, I would do it also inside the L, inside the pieces, the letters also, okay? And then down the side. Right now, just for showing you, I'm just going to show you how to do it, how to go about doing the pouncing, and then to put some of the designs on the piece. So don't wash your brush. I just wipe my brush out, and I'm going to go to the green, which is my second letter. And it changes color right away. The green actually is green immediately, and without me washing the pink out of the brush. And then I'm going to do the O. I'm going to leave the center of the O in the gray. So that there's some definition there, that it looks a little different. I mean, I like to base coat things. It makes painting a lot easier if you base coat. And when you pounce the colors on, you should always do 2 coats, because the second coat makes a difference. See the darker color I have there on my second application? And because I put it on very thin, I can go back right away. I don't have to wait for it to really dry for any length of time. Okay, and then don't forget to do the sides, and you could do the bottom. I'll show you on this one. I did the bottom, and I did the sides. Okay? All right, so after that, I'm going to go to the lilac, so I'm going to wipe as much of the green out of the brush as I can. And I'm going to go to the lilac. Now I'm going to do it, clean the brush out a few times with the lilac so I can get rid of the green. And then I'm going to be pouncing. And the lilac is a very light color, so you really have to do it 2 or 3 times. Okay, so there's one. I put a drop of pink in my brush with the lilac. I think it makes it a little deeper color. And then I'll go back and put a little more lilac over it. Where is my lilac? It's actually called light purple. The pieces that I'm painting and all of the paints that I use come from Gare, Gare.com. You can take a look at their website and see all the beautiful pieces that they have. And those are the pieces that I usually use for all of these classes. Okay. Okay, so now you can see the difference in that, right? And just do it one more time. You could do it as many times as you want, as long as it's dry. And my last letter is in the blue. Okay? So each time you do it, the color gets sharper and sharper. So I need some of the blue. All right, again, wipe the brush out as much of the color as you can, and then pick up the blue. And I clean the brush with the next color. Oops, excuse me, my phone is ringing. I forgot to disconnect it, so we'll just let it go. All right, so now I'm going to pounce the blue on. Okay, and like I said, do it a couple of times now. Just get as close as you can to the other letter. I'm sorry about the phone. Usually I disconnect it, and I forgot to disconnect it this time. Okay, so that's one coat. Let it dry. You have time to let this dry. So I would let it dry in between colors, and the colors will get sharper faster than if you try to do it while it's wet. I'm doing it while it's wet because I'm trying to show you how to do the whole piece without taking time to let it dry. So, okay, so there's the L. So that's basically how I put my colors on, all right? And don't forget to do the tops. The top, you follow each letter across the top and then also down the side. And then the back, I didn't do anything on the back. You could just take another color that you have left over, whatever you have the most of, and paint it on the back. And that you don't pounce. You could paint that solidly on the back. Now I want to show you how to do the hearts and the little flowers and the designs. All right, so I did the design work in red. I used all the colors that I have and all the colors that I gave you to do the design work. Just remember one thing, putting the colors on with the back end of the brush, you have these two brushes, you could use either handle. One handle's smaller, one handle's larger. And I'll start over here. And you have to dip like at least every other dot because they get smaller and smaller, the dots. Okay, so just go around the piece, outline the letter, and then you can outline the little opening, which I didn't do on that one, but you can. See, now I'm doing this a little differently than I did on the sample, so you can do whatever you want. But just remember, the dots take a long time to dry, so I'm going to work away. I'm going to work so that I can lean over here, because if I work on the L and then try to do the E, I'll have my arm in it. So what this time I'm doing is I'm just outlining it with the dots, and I'm going to outline the little opening with the dots. And if you don't dip, your dot gets smaller and smaller. So that one I did a little differently. I outlined it. Okay, and that's what I kind of did on this one, so we could do everything a little different. Now, as far as the flowers go, I would put a center down. I'll use this bright pink. Put a center. You see that on the top of the V? And then you're going to do two eyes. I call them two eyes on the top of that center. And then, whoops, what was that? And then one below that pink center. All right, two dots on the top of the pink center and one dot below it. And then there's enough space in between here and here to make a perfect flower. All right, I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do a pink center. I'll do it with the bigger brush so you can see it a little better this time. All right, this is the bigger brush handle. See the dot's a lot bigger? I did one, and then two above it, one below it, and that leaves you just the right amount of space on either side of the center to give you a full circle flower. Okay, see that? All right, so that's your flower. Now on this one, I'm going to put hearts so you can see how to do a heart. Now the heart is you start out with the two circles at the top, and then you take the handle of your brush and you pull it down to a point. It's very simple. You don't have to do it with the brush because it's very hard to do with a brush. So two circles, and then pull down and get a heart. I'll do one more time. 2 circles. There's 1 and 2. I leave a little space in between the circles. I think I like that better than when they're right on top of each other. And then pull down. Okay, so there's that. And now on the other letter, you can just do dots. You could do a 3-dot design. You could do a cascading design, and that would be, I'm going to do it with the red also so you can see. If you do, each dot you do and you don't dip again, they get smaller and smaller. See, I didn't dip. I just dipped one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each dot gets smaller and smaller. So you can do that too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then you could go back and you could put a dot of a different color in between. You could take the pink. Well, they can't do pink because this is on a pink piece. Let's do lilac. You could take lilac and you could do a big dot in between. And you can make up whatever designs you want. Okay? So that's some ideas on how to do the piece. And I said I would show you the other pieces, and they're in a previous video that I did, and you could always look them up on YouTube also. But this piece was done exactly the same way, and this piece was done the same way. Even though it's got darker colors, it's done exactly the same way. All right? So, 3 beautiful Valentine pieces, or doesn't have to be just Valentine. It could be for any time of the year. Keep love in the air, right? Okay, so there you go. And this is just pounced with the red and the pink and the design work that's done on top of it. So that's it. That's how I did this piece. And if you have any questions, email me. You have my email in with your directions. And I appreciate you taking this class. And I hope you all have a very happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much.